Okay, so here we are with another loco review, but today it's going to be something a bit different because we're not going to be having a look at a model made by Hornby, and we're not having a look at a model made by Batman. We're having a look at something made by Heljan, which it's been a while since I bought or reviewed anything that was made by Heljan. The last thing that I got that was to do with Heljan was last year in the Class 58 review, which I'm sure most of you, if not all of you, will have seen the review on that by now, because it's been up for about a year now or so. But today we're here to have a look at the BR Class 35, better known to you and me as the Hymek. Now, I've had this model for a few days now. It is brand new, but I've not had the chance to have a look at it yet. So we're going to do that in a second. So on the side of the box, or on the end of the box I should say, well, it's a Class 35 as we know. Item is 35211 and it is DCC ready, as it has the 8-pin decoder, as you can see there. And this locomotive is in BR green livery, which is the full BR green livery. And this locomotive is numbered D7003, as you can see there. Now this is the full BR green livery because it does not have the yellow warning panels. Heljan do make several liveries for the Hymek. They do this livery, BR green with the green panels. You can also get the one that has the half yellow warning panels as well, in pretty much the same livery as this. They also do BR blue with the full yellow ends and the yellow cabs, and there's also BR blue with white cabs and the small yellow panel. And I do believe at one point Heljan did do a Hymek in BR green with the full yellow panel. I went for the BR green one, the full BR green one with the green panels, because I think it was the nicest liveries out of the lot. But anyway, let's not faff about anymore. Let's get this model open and see what she's like. It's in Heljan's new packaging, so they're no longer using the foam that we've gotten used to before now. This is the plastic packaging that Hornby and Batman are now using, as you can see. So this is the first time I've had Heljan's new packaging, even though it's the same as Hornby and Batman. So there's the box. We'll just get rid of that. Then we've got the plastic tray in the card that we'll just take out. In the card tray, which this is in, I should say. And so out comes the model, and we have the instructions on the back. So I'll get rid of the card tray. And so here are the instructions for the Hymek, ready to go into the folders. Which these will be the only instructions in my folder that I'll have anything to do with the Hymek. So let's give a brief history on this class of locomotive. 100 of these in built were total at Bayer Peacock, and they were built between 1961 and 1964. Out of all the hundreds of them that were built, 4 of them are preserved. D7017 and D7018 on the West Somerset Railway. There's D7029 on the Severn Valley, and there's also D7076 on the East Lancashire Railway. Only 2 of the Hymeks out of the 4 in preservation are operational at this point, when this video is uploaded and being filmed. D7076 is in operation on the East Lancashire Railway in the BR Blue livery, and D7018 is in service on the West Somerset. The other 2, well, the one on the Severn Valley is still undergoing restoration, and I do believe D7017 is undergoing an overhaul or something like that. And they were nicknamed Hymeks because of the Mechhydro design being the hydraulic transmission unit. So the nickname Hymek refers to the Hy being the hydraulic and the Mech being the Mechhydro. Bit of a fun fact for you there. And they were withdrawn in 1971 to 1975. They did not last long in service because they were withdrawn early. And they were replaced by the Class 37, so it was the tractors that replaced the Hymeks. But the reason why the Hymeks were withdrawn is because at this point, in the 1970s, BR had considered them as being non-standard because they wanted to eliminate designs considered as either non-standard, or expensive to maintain by reducing classes of locomotives from 28 to 15 by the year 1974. So that's where the withdrawals of these came in, sadly, but there you go. And they were built for secondary passenger services as well as also working on pick-up freights, as these were a mixed traffic design, you see. But anyway, that's more than enough brief history, I think, of the Hymek. Let's just have a look at the instructions. So here, well, there is actually quite a lot of information here about the class of locomotive. Although, interestingly here, it says a total of 101 examples were built. Yeah, because other places I have got information of this class of locomotive, it says 100 were built. I'm pretty certain it was 100. I think 101 is a misconception of some sort. And they had the wheel arrangement BB, and there were numbers D7000 to D7100. So yeah, there's been an error there. D7000 to D7100, that means 100 of them were built, at least. But yeah, that is quite curious. Okay, it turns out I've made the mistake somewhere. There were indeed 101 of these built, because if they were numbered D7000 to D7100, technically there would be 101 of them built. Although other places I have got information of this locomotive from just say that 100 of them were built, so that is quite confusing. But even so, 101 of these were built, they only went up to D7100. If, let's say, 102 of these were built, then they would have gone up to D7101. But yeah, so I made the mistake there. So, yeah, but, you know, we learn these things, because even though I've been in this hobby for as long as I have, I still learn new things on the way. Because, you know, no matter how long you've been in the hobby, you're still going to learn new things anyway. And they had a top speed of 90 miles per hour. And they had 1,740 horsepower, etc, etc. But yeah, so here's the actual bits of the instructions for the Hymek itself. The buffer beam detailing, chip, where to fit it, and additional detail parts. Splendid. I'll put those into my folder later. Okay, so here's the box itself, with polystyrene stuck on the ends. Probably to help secure it in place or something, so I'll get rid of the sleeve. The plastic sleeve, which is what I like to call it. Then under here we have the detail parts, which I'll just quickly look at. Now, interestingly, these are the ones that you get on the sprues, which Heljan have done before in the past, but nowadays Heljan have mostly not supplying you with these sprues that you have to cut the details off yourself. I've not got a problem with them, but you know, I thought Heljan would have done away with that and just supplied them separately in a bag, but oh well, that's just me. So here, what do we have? There's so much sellotape on these. Oh crikey, I was trying to undo the tape, I've actually ripped the bag open. Oh well, never mind, we'll just take them out anyway. So here, yes, we get the couplings for the loco. As you can see there, we'll put those to one side, and then here we get a sprue with snowplows on. Which is interesting, because I've never seen any pictures or videos of the Hymeks wearing snowplows, but maybe they did in service, I don't know. I mean, does it say anything in the instructions about the snowplows? Oh yes, it does. I'm not sure if I'm going to fit them on though. Probably not. Because you have to pull the buffer beam off to do that and take the buffers out. I don't fancy doing that at all. You know, if there's an easier solution, then I might do it. Maybe perhaps just drilling holes into the buffer beams or whatever, or just gluing them onto the buffer beam perhaps, I don't know. You know, they could have done a simpler way to do that, but there we go. Can't argue with that. Then these details here is the vacuum pipes. Well, we might as well take these out of the bag actually, being to took the others out, even if that was accidental. So on these sprues here, they're just vacuum pipes. Interestingly, one sprue for just one detail on each one. And then here it's just the other things. You do get some plastic chain link couplings, which are just moulded, so they're not like the actual proper chain links. But even so, and then you get some other vacuum pipes here, and it's the same with this other sprue really. So yeah, I don't mind the details on the sprues because that is nice, because you can also, pardon, if you wanted to, you could paint them up, I suppose. It's actually quite a surprise to see that, because nowadays, like I said earlier, Heljan mostly give you the detail parts. They're just supplied separately in a bag, like these ones here from the Batman K3, which I still have yet to put on. But there we go. Anyway, we'll just take off the flap of the box. I'll just take the model out. And then we'll just take away that. And then we'll just unwrap the locomotive from this plastic sheet. I mean, I do prefer this over the tissue paper. At least it's nicer and neater. But there we go. Okay. So now we are free to have a look at the Hymek in detail. But wow. Where do we start? I mean, well, first of all, where we can start is the weight. Considering she's only a small locomotive, I mean, she's not as long as a Class 37 or a Class 50 or a Deltic. She's quite heavy, but then there needs to be weight in even a small loco like this, because there's no traction tyres on the wheels. The weight creates the traction, and without the weight, this model would not be able to pull anything, so she would be useless, really. But anyway, well, where do we begin? Well, first of all, what I can say is there are no sprung buffers on this model. And they are plastic buffers. Now, it's not really a disappointment to me, because I don't really have much care for the sprung buffers. But it would have been nice if they were made of metal. But, oh well, doesn't matter. They don't really have an effect on the model, though. But anyway, so I just thought I'd get that done over with. The bogie detail, it is nice. You get a step there, sanding gear, axle boxes and springs. Bear in mind, none of the detail, of course, on the bogies are painted, but it's there, so you can paint it if you want, but I'm not going to do it. But the detail there, at least it's there and it's nice. You've got the wheels too, of course, and the fuel tank, which does have some nice detail on it. It's not the most highly detailed fuel tank, but then, you know, they're not really that detailed in reality anyway on these locos. You've got the horns on the top of there on the cabs, which have been separately put on, which is nice, and they're not moulded on like on the earlier Hornby/Triang Hymeks, which came out years before Heljan even brought these out. The roof detail is very nice. You do have some rivets just there and there, as you can see. You do get some nice bumps on top of the roof as well. And there was a separately added fan. You can't see a fan under there, but at least there's a grille there. These I do believe are the exhaust ports. That I'm not too sure what it is, but there's a small grille in there, as we can see. And that there, I have no idea what that detail is, but it's there, just like on the real thing, so it's nice. You've also got some metal handrails at the side of the doors there, which is nice. And there's the loco's running number, D7003, crisply reprinted on the side there. Along with a, assuming that's a builder's plate of some sort, but I can't quite read what it says on it. But there we go. There are of course doors on this locomotive. They don't open, but they don't really need to. There's glazing in the cab windows like there should be. And there is even some cab interior detail in there. It's not painted, but it's there. And there's also separately added wipers on the windows there, on both ends of the cab, which is nice. And you can always put a driver in one of these cabs if you wanted to. I'm not going to do it, but you can do it if you want. You've also got separately added metal handrails on the front of the locos there, again on both ends. As you can see, the buffer beam is painted red, which looks really nice. And the livery, it's just spot on. You've got the full BR green ends, and underneath the locomotive here, it's yellow, which really does look stunning in my opinion, as well as the white cabs as well. It really does look nice. We might have working lights, I'm not too sure, but we'll have to wait and find out. We might have working lights, but we'll wait and see. You do, however, get a head code printed in there, 3C32, and on the back, on the rear cab I should say, it's 1A08. And because on the earlier Heljan Hymeks, when they first brought them out, I do believe you had to stick them on, but now they've separately pitted those in themselves, which looks quite good. As you can see, these are the holes for the detail to go into the buffer beam, as you can see, which looks very nice. And that's the NEM socket for the coupling to go into, which has a air tank of some sort under there, which looks really nice. Then on the side of the loco, you've got the BR Lake crest, and these large grills down the side, which is very nice. And that is a door to get to the engine, which there's two there and there's one there. Although to be fair, those might go to the engine and that might go to the generator or something. Then you've got the windows in the side of the model, just like on the real thing. These two of course don't have any windows in them, but there's some nice grills there. But these two do have the windows in, just like on the real thing. There's even some grills here. There's even detail underneath here, which looks really nice. It's printed on, but it's there, which looks really good. And then on the other side, it's pretty much the same level of detail, basically. But yeah, overall, I think she's a stunning model. So far, anyway, looking at the detail. We've now got to see how she runs, which I am very excited to see whether this model has working lights or not. Although it doesn't necessarily matter if she doesn't have any working lights, but we'll soon find out whether she does have them or not. But if she doesn't have any working lights, you can always fit them in yourself anyway, so I'm sure it's not too much of a problem. But anyway, let's get this model on the track and see how she runs. Although I should quickly point out the body shell does seem a little bit loose, and that is because, well, it's designed to not have screws in it, so it's easier to remove. But do just be careful of that. It's not incredibly loose, like the body shell will literally come off when you first get the model out, but it is only slightly loose, so just try to be careful with that. It's not too loose, but it still is slightly noticeable anyway when you're holding the model in various parts. But it's not too much of a massive problem, so let's get this model on the track without further ado and see how she runs, because I'm dying to see how she does run. But it's a Heljan model, so I'm expecting it to be a smooth runner, because all the Heljan models are. Okay, so here we are at the layout, and we're going to put the Hymek onto the tracks. Just one thing I will point out about the snowplows is that, as I said earlier in the instructions, this part here, if I just zoom in, This part here I'm pointing my finger to is designed to be removable so you can fix the snow ploughs on. Now I mentioned something about gluing it into the buffer beam, but that's not really the case. You know, I do question that design, because with Batman, like on their split box class 37, there were holes in the buffer beam so the snow ploughs could glue into the buffer beam. I mean, okay, they would catch on rail joins and hit things and cause a bit of a problem, but still it was a bit of an easier way to fit snow ploughs onto than this. And also with some other models I've seen, such as the ones with V-trains, they have lugs under the buffer beams to fit the snow ploughs onto. Sometimes, okay, the snow ploughs have fallen off. Like with my DRS class 37 that I used to have, one of the snow ploughs kept falling off and I had to keep fixing them back on, but still, it's not something that lets the model down entirely, and it's not something that detracts from the model, but if I had to be critical, that would be my critical point. Because, you know, you really have got to be careful with this part here. That's the only thing I don't like about it, because there's always the fear of it going missing somewhere if you take it off, or God knows what else. But anyway, so let's get a rolling. It would help if I turn the power on. Oh yes, look at that. Very smooth. Okay, so let's get it going. Just zoom out. Wow, now that is definitely smooth. I mean, it does look like there's no working lights on this model after all, but it's not too much of a problem, because it's nice to have a variety of some models that do have working lights and some models that don't. You could argue it's a disappointment that it doesn't have any working lights, but still, you can always fit them in yourself if you wanted to. There's a bit of sunlight there. Okay, so the Hymek's gone through the tunnel. It's just coming at the other end. Passing the siding where all these mineral wagons are. Passing the signal box and the station. These coaches are being waiting to be pulled by the Hymek, which I will do in a while. Passing the seaside that will still have some detail on, but it's just not happened yet. Passing the engine shed. Passing the counter and the sidings. Under the bridge, over the crossing where that beam of sunlight is. And back out the tunnel again. So now we will leave the locomotive running before we get it hitched up to a train. Right, so now we're going to get the Hymek pulling this rack of coaches, which is the, well, it's the coaches you saw in the Castle Class review that the Castle Class pulled. It's the chocolate and cream, custard and blood coaches. Or at least they're called that couch there, and that one over there custard and blood. But you know. And a coupling has been put on the Hymek, which I've just added, and also I have changed the head codes around. That code that was at the back is now at the front, at this end, and the other one is at the back, which you can just about see there, but you might just be able to see it actually. Not that I'm biased, but I just wanted to do that anyway. But anyway, let's see if this Hymek can pull these couches. Oh yes, look at that. This train is not a problem for it. She's coping really well with this. That's why the weight is important. And there were 6 couches there. Where's it coming? It's coming out of the tunnel. And because it's a mixed traffic locomotive, I think in other videos we're going to have to get her pulling some wagons and some of the other couches as well around the layout. Which would be quite good, I think. Well, I think what we'll do now is get some close-ups of that. All in this way of couches around the layout. And I think we can all agree she looks stunning with this way. So in conclusion then, putting aside that criticism with the removable buffer bin to fit the snow plows on, she is still a stunning model. And she makes a perfect addition to your fleet, especially if you would be Western hydraulics. So now I've got a warship and a Hymek, I just need a Western now. But yeah, get one. Well done, Heljan. I will glue those fences back on there, although I just haven't got around to doing it yet. But yeah, well done, Heljan, on this model. It is definitely better than the old Triangle Hornby model. But there's not really much else to say about it, really. I know I tend to say this in a lot of my reviews, but get one. Doesn't matter what livery, because they're all just as stunning as each other.